Hi, fifth graders. Today is lesson 16-3, and we are still working on classifying quadrilaterals. So yesterday we talked about the different types of quadrilaterals, which are figures with four sides. We talked about parallelograms, rectangles, rhombuses, squares, and trapezoids. So yesterday I showed you this chart, but today I want to show you kind of another way of looking at it. This is the one that Pearson uses, so you might see this one a little bit more. They have a big box with quadrilaterals, and then they have circles. So they have trapezoids on their own because those don't really fit into any other categories, just with the quadrilaterals. Then you have a big red circle for parallelograms, and inside that you have rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. And you can see that the rectangles and rhombuses overlap with the squares in the middle. So you can tell that rhombuses, squares, and rectangles are all parallelograms. So we're going to be using this today as we talk about classifying our quadrilaterals. Now, the questions today aren't hard, but you do have to kind of stop and think about what it's asking. All right? So I'm going to move this over to the side for now. Okay, so number 7 through 10, it says in 7 through 10, write whether each statement is true or false. If false, explain why. So number 7 says all rhombuses are rectangles. So I'm looking over here and I'm seeing are all rhombuses rectangles? Is that true? So they aren't right next to each other. They do overlap, but they don't completely overlap. So rhombuses, I know if I look at this, rhombuses have four equal sides and and rectangles have four right angles. But they don't have to be the same. So rhombuses don't have to have four right angles and rectangles don't have to have four equal sides. So this one is false. For example, your rhombus can look like this and not be a rectangle. Okay. Number 8, every trapezoid is a quadrilateral. Okay. Now I'm going to look over here. Are my trapezoids, are they all under quadrilaterals? Yes, that is true. All trapezoids have four sides. True. Number 9, rhombuses are special parallelograms. Special just means like they fit into it. So yes, rhombuses are inside the bigger one that is parallelogram. Parallelogram means they have two pairs of sides that are equal and parallel, and rhombuses have the same thing. In rhombuses, all four sides are the same, are equal, but that can still fit in to parallelograms. Okay, so this one's also true. And number 10, all rectangles are quadrilaterals. Well, remember, a quadrilateral is just a shape with four sides, and rectangles definitely have four sides. So yes, that is also true. Okay. Let's do number 12. Why is a square also a rhombus? So I'm going to pull up this one for this one. So a square has four equal sides and four right angles. A rhombus has four equal sides. So that fits into the definition because a square does have four equal sides. Okay. So a square is also a rhombus because it has four equal sides. Okay, whoops, sides. All right. Next up, we're going to look at number 14. Let me get my pen back. Okay. A reflecting pool is shaped like a rhombus with a side length of 6 meters. So I'm just going to draw a rhombus. Rhombus, it's not perfect. Those sides are supposed to be equal. So a side length is 6 meters. Now it only told me one side, but I'm talking about rhombuses here, and I know they have four equal sides. So that means each side would be 6 meters. What is the perimeter of the pool? Okay, perimeter is the way around the outside. okay? Adding all of them up. So I could think 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, or I could just think 6 times 4 instead, and that would be a little faster. So the perimeter would be 24 meters. Okay, last one we're going to do together is this one. So it already has it down here, which is nice. Okay, part A. Are rhombuses also rectangles? Oh, we already answered that before. Just kidding. We already answered that. So we talked about how sometimes. We talked about how their circles overlap, right? Okay, so their circles overlap, but they are not always, okay? So they overlap when they're squares, all right? So rhombuses are rectangles when the rhombus is a square, okay? Some rhombuses are rectangles, not all rhombuses are rectangles. Finally, what are all of the names that describe a rhombus? So I have to see what bigger things are in here. So here's rhombuses, okay? What else is it? I have to look at the bigger ones. Okay, it's also a parallelogram. I'm just going to write P. And then even bigger, it's also a quadrilateral. So a rhombus can be described by being called a rhombus, a parallelogram, or a quadrilateral. So today when you're doing your problems, you can either use this, if this helps you seeing the circles, or you can pause the video when I have this up and use that if that helps you more, okay? Either one can help you with your practice problems today. Remember, they're not too hard, but you might need to stop and think about what it's asking specifically.